Welcome to my channel Starwire Daily. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. It's 1999, and a young Australian actress walks onto the set of what would become one of cinema's most haunting masterpieces. The cameras roll, the lights dim, and in that moment, Nicole Kidman doesn't just deliver a performance. She transforms into something otherworldly. But here's what critics didn't expect. This was just the beginning of a 3-decade journey that would redefine what it means to be a Hollywood icon. Welcome back to Starwire Daily, where we dive deep into the glittering, sometimes dark world of Hollywood's most fascinating stars. I'm your host, and today we're about to embark on an extraordinary journey through the complete filmography of one of cinema's most enigmatic performers. We're talking about Nicole Kidman, Academy Award winner, fashion icon, and a woman who's made critics around the world fall in love with her craft over and over again. Now, you might think you know Nicole Kidman. You've seen her red carpet moments, her stunning fashion choices, her high-profile relationships. But what you're about to discover is the hidden architecture of a career that spans from her early days in Australian cinema to her current status as Hollywood royalty. Critics have ranked her 31 most memorable film performances, and trust me, some of these rankings are going to surprise you. Let's start where most people wouldn't expect, at the bottom of this prestigious list. Because even Nicole Kidman's lesser films reveal something fascinating about an actress who's never been afraid to take risks. At number 31, we find Bewitched from 2005. Now, before you roll your eyes, let me tell you something critics noticed that most audiences missed. Kidman didn't just play a witch in this supernatural comedy. She embodied the very essence of old Hollywood glamour, trying to navigate the modern world. The film might have been a commercial disappointment, but watch Kidman's performance closely. She's channeling something deeper here, a commentary on fame, identity, and the magic we expect from our movie stars. Moving up to number 30. The Stepford Wives remake in 2004 showcased Kidman's ability to find humanity in the most artificial circumstances. Critics pointed out how she managed to make a satirical thriller feel genuinely unsettling, even when the material around her felt forced. But here's where things get interesting. As we climb through the 20s, we start to see the emergence of what critics call the Kidman method. Her uncanny ability to disappear completely into characters that seem impossible to inhabit. Take The Invasion from 2007, sitting at number 29. This sci-fi thriller gave Kidman the chance to explore paranoia and maternal instinct in ways that most actresses would find terrifying. Critics noted how she brought a vulnerability to what could have been a cold, clinical role. She wasn't just running from alien body snatchers. She was protecting something precious, and you could see that desperation in every frame. Number 28 brings us Australia from 2008, and this is where we need to talk about something critics initially overlooked. Baz Luhrmann's epic might have been polarizing, but Kidman's performance as Lady Sarah Ashley revealed something extraordinary about her range. She went from prim English aristocrat to rugged outback survivor. And critics who initially dismissed the film later admitted they'd underestimated how completely she transformed herself. The film wasn't just a love story set against the backdrop of World War II. It was Kidman proving she could carry an epic, old-fashioned Hollywood spectacle on her shoulders. And those scenes with Hugh Jackman? Pure cinematic chemistry that reminded critics why star power still matters in an age of franchise filmmaking. Now, as we move in the early 20s of this ranking, we encounter some of Kidman's most underappreciated work. Stoker, at number 24 from 2013, is a perfect example. Working with visionary director Park Chan-wook, Kidman delivered what critics called a masterclass in maternal menace. She played a grieving mother with secrets, and every scene she inhabited felt like it might explode at any moment. What critics loved about her performance in Stoker was how she managed to be simultaneously sympathetic and terrifying. You understood her grief, but you also feared what that grief might make her capable of. It's the kind of psychological complexity that separates great actresses from merely good ones. But let's talk about number 23, The Killing of a Sacred Deer from 2017. This is where Kidman, working with Yorgos Lanthimos, created something truly unsettling. Critics praised how she brought warmth to a deliberately cold, surreal narrative. In lesser hands, her character could have been merely functional, but Kidman found the beating heart in what seemed like an impossible role. As we approach the top 20, we're entering territory where every single performance represents a different facet of Kidman's extraordinary range. Number 22, The Northman from 2022, showed audiences and critics that even in her 50s, Kidman could command the screen in a brutal Viking epic. Her Queen Gudrun was fierce, calculating, and utterly memorable, proving that great actresses don't fade with age. They simply become more powerful. Number 21, Being the Ricardos from 2021, put Kidman in an almost impossible position, playing Lucille Ball, one of America's most beloved entertainers. Critics were initially skeptical, but Kidman's performance won them over completely. She didn't try to mimic Ball's famous comedic timing. Instead, she found the driven, perfectionist woman behind the public persona. What critics consistently praise about Kidman is her fearlessness. She doesn't choose safe roles or worry about maintaining a particular image. Take number 20, The Beguiled from 2017. Working with Sofia Coppola, Kidman created a character study of repressed desire and dangerous femininity that critics called hypnotic. In this Civil War thriller, she played the headmistress of a girls' school who becomes dangerously obsessed with a wounded Union soldier. Critics noted how Kidman managed to make her character's transformation from stern educator to passionate woman feel both inevitable and shocking. Now we're entering the territory that critics consider essential Kidman. The performances that define not just her career, but modern cinema itself. Number 19, Lion from 2016, earned Kidman her 4th Oscar nomination, and critics understood why immediately. Playing the adoptive mother of a young man searching for his birth family, Kidman had to convey years of love, sacrifice, and ultimately, the heartbreak of letting go. What made critics fall in love with this performance was its restraint. Kidman could have played the role as melodrama, but instead, she found the quiet dignity of a woman who knows that true love sometimes means stepping aside. Number 18 brings us to Queen of the Desert from 2015, where Kidman played Gertrude Bell, the remarkable woman who helped shape the modern Middle East. Critics praised how she brought intelligence and passion to a historical figure that most audiences had never heard of. This wasn't just costume drama. It was Kidman proving she could make historical figures feel immediate and relevant. As we climb higher, number 17 showcases The Others from 2001. And this is where we need to talk about something critics recognized immediately: Kidman's ability to anchor supernatural thrillers with genuine emotional depth. Playing a mother protecting her light-sensitive children in post-war isolation, Kidman created an atmosphere of dread that critics called masterful. The twist ending of The Others worked precisely because of Kidman's performance. Critics noted how she played every scene with absolute conviction, never letting the audience see the supernatural truth coming, yet making it feel inevitable in retrospect. Number 16, Coal Mountain from 2003, paired Kidman with Jude Law in an epic Civil War romance that critics initially thought might be too ambitious. But Kidman's performance as Ada, a privileged woman learning to survive on her own, proved that she could ground even the most sweeping narratives in emotional truth. Critics loved how she showed Ada's transformation from pampered Southern belle to hardened survivor without ever losing the character's essential dignity. It was a performance that reminded critics why old-fashioned movie stars still matter. She made you believe in the grand gesture, the epic love story, the idea that some emotions are worth waiting years to resolve. Now we're approaching the top 15, and every single one of these performances represents Kidman at the peak of her powers. Number 15, The Paperboy from 2012, was controversial from the moment it premiered, but critics recognized something extraordinary in Kidman's completely unhinged performance as Charlotte Bless. Working with director Lee Daniels, Kidman created a character so sexually charged and psychologically complex that critics didn't know what to do with her at first. She played a woman obsessed with death row inmates, and critics noted how she made this seemingly impossible character feel completely human and desperately sad. This is what separates great actresses from merely competent ones: the willingness to go to places that feel dangerous. Critics praise Kidman for never judging her character, never playing Charlotte as a caricature. Instead, she found the loneliness and need that drove this woman to make such destructive choices. Number 14. The Family Fawn from 2015 showcased Kidman's ability to play against type as an artist struggling with the legacy of her unconventional parents. Critics noted how she brought both humor and pathos to a role that could have been merely quirky. But it's number 13, Practical Magic from 1998, where critics first glimpsed the full range of Kidman's abilities. Playing a witch trying to escape her family's cursed legacy, Kidman managed to make supernatural romance feel grounded and real. Critics loved how she balanced the film's magical elements with genuine emotional stakes. As we enter the top 12, we're talking about performances that critics consider career-defining. Number 12, To Die For from 1995, was the film that announced Kidman as a major talent. Playing Suzanne Stone, an ambitious weather girl who manipulates teenagers into murdering her husband, Kidman created what critics called a perfect monster. What made critics take notice was how Kidman played Suzanne without any self-awareness of her own evil. She made this murderous narcissist feel completely real, completely believable, and somehow even sympathetic. It was a performance that proved Kidman wasn't just another pretty face. She was a fearless actress willing to make audiences uncomfortable. Number 11. The Portrait of a Lady from 1996 saw Kidman working with Jane Campion to bring Henry James' complex heroine to life. Critics praised how she captured Isabel Archer's intelligence and naivety, her strength, and her tragic blindness to the manipulation around her. This was Kidman proving she could carry a literary adaptation, that she understood the psychology of characters who exist more in thought than in action. Critics noted how she made Isabel's internal struggles visible without ever resorting to obvious emotional displays. Now we're in the top 10, and every single one of these performances represents a different aspect of cinematic excellence. Number 10, Birth from 2004, remains one of Kidman's most controversial and critically acclaimed performances. Playing a widow who believes a 10-year-old boy is her reincarnated husband, Kidman had to navigate territory that could have been ridiculous. Instead, critics marveled at how she made grief feel so tangible, so desperate, that even the most impossible premise felt emotionally true. Her famous close-up during the opera scene became legendary among critics. Minutes of pure emotional transparency that proved cinema's power to reveal the human soul. Number 9, Destroyer from 2018, shocked critics and audiences alike. Kidman transformed herself completely, playing a burned-out LAPD detective haunted by an undercover operation gone wrong. Critics couldn't believe this was the same glamorous actress they'd been watching for decades. The physical transformation was startling, but it was Kidman's emotional commitment that impressed critics most. She found the broken humanity in a character that could have been a cliché, making her pain feel immediate and real. Number 8, Rabbit Hole from 2010, earned Kidman another Oscar nomination for playing a mother dealing with unimaginable loss. Critics praised how she avoided sentimentality while still making grief feel authentic and devastating. As we reach the top 7, we're talking about performances that critics believe will be studied for generations. Number 7, The Hours from 2002, saw Kidman completely disappearing into Virginia Woolf, the troubled genius behind Mrs. Dalloway. With prosthetics that completely changed her appearance, Kidman had to convey the internal torment of one of literature's greatest minds. Critics were amazed by how she captured Woolf's brilliance and her devastating depression, making both feel equally real and important. Number 6, Big Little Lies. Yes, critics considered her television work here, proved that Kidman's talents weren't limited to the big screen. Playing Celeste, a woman trapped in an abusive marriage, Kidman delivered what critics called the performance of the decade. The complexity required was enormous, showing how an intelligent, successful woman could become trapped by someone she loves. Critics praised how Kidman made every contradiction in Celeste's situation feel believable and heartbreaking. Number 5, Dogville from 2003, saw Kidman working with Lars von Trier in one of cinema's most challenging productions. Performed on a bare stage with minimal sets, critics had to focus entirely on the performances, and Kidman delivered something extraordinary. Playing Grace, a woman seeking refuge in a small town that slowly turns against her, Kidman had to carry nearly 3 hours of intense psychological drama. Critics praised how she showed Grace's transformation from victim to something far more complex and morally ambiguous. We're almost at the summit now. Number 4, Eyes Wide Shut from 1999, Kubrick's final masterpiece, featured what critics consider one of Kidman's most psychologically complex performances. Playing Alice Hartford, a woman whose confession of desire nearly destroys her marriage, Kidman had to navigate Kubrick's meticulous direction while creating a character of genuine depth. Critics noted how she made Alice's fantasy feel both erotic and emotionally devastating. The famous confession scene became legendary. Kidman managed to make intellectual desire feel as dangerous as any physical affair. Number 3, Paddington from 2014. And here's where critics surprised everyone. In what many dismissed as a simple children's film, Kidman created Millicent Clyde, a villain so perfectly realized that critics couldn't ignore her brilliance. She brought genuine menace to a family film without ever becoming too frightening for children. Critics loved how she made Millicent's obsession with taxidermy feel both absurd and genuinely threatening. Number 2, Flirting from 1991. The film that launched Kidman's career internationally still stands as what many critics consider her most natural, unguarded performance. Playing a boarding school student falling in love for the first time, Kidman displayed a vulnerability and authenticity that critics say she spent her career trying to recapture. And finally, number 1, Moulin Rouge from 2001. Baz Luhrmann's musical extravaganza gave Kidman the role that critics believe defines not just her career, but modern musical cinema itself. Playing Satine, the sparkling diamond of the Moulin Rouge, Kidman had to sing, dance, act, and break hearts all at the same time. Critics were unanimous. This wasn't just a great performance. It was a complete transformation into pure cinematic magic. Every moment Kidman appears on screen in Moulin Rouge feels electric, dangerous, and utterly alive. She made tragedy feel beautiful, love feel desperate, and dreams feel worth dying for. What critics consistently praise about Moulin Rouge is how Kidman balanced the film's over-the-top style with genuine emotional truth. Satine's death scene remains one of cinema's most heartbreaking moments, not because of the staging or the music, but because Kidman made you believe completely in this woman's capacity for love and sacrifice. So there you have it, 31 performances that showcase why Nicole Kidman remains one of our most essential actresses. From supernatural thrillers to grand musicals, from intimate dramas to epic adventures, she's proven time and again that great acting isn't about playing it safe. It's about finding truth in every character, no matter how impossible they might seem. What strikes me most about this ranking is how it reveals an actress who's never stopped taking risks, never stopped pushing boundaries, never stopped surprising both critics and audiences. In an industry that often rewards predictability, Nicole Kidman has built her entire career on being unpredictable. Now I want to hear from you. Do you agree with the critics' rankings? Which Nicole Kidman performance do you think deserves to be higher on this list? Are there any roles that surprised you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if this deep dive into one of Hollywood's most fascinating careers kept you entertained. And if you're hungry for more behind-the-scenes stories, more ranking controversies, and more deep dives into the careers that shaped Hollywood, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. Trust me, we've got some incredible content coming your way that you won't want to miss. Until next time, this has been StarWire Daily, reminding you that the best performances aren't just entertainment. They're windows into the human soul. See you in the next one.